WWE as we know it is changing. But who moves where? We're going to talk about all of your draft news. Plus, there's a new title in town. Was it made for one superstar? Let's talk about that as well. Sit back, grab a drink, relax. The show starts now.
Woo! Back and better than ever. Had to reformat our streaming devices, but don't you worry, loyal fans. We'll get the show to you every week.
Yeah, without paying for getting you the show. That's
Well,
very
I mean,
important.
you pay us, we'll pay for it. It'll be like a circle of life type thing.
Yeah,
So did you watch Monday Night Raw?
I did.
Well, they were in Chicago, home
Hmm.
of CM Punk, best in the world. And that's not really important because Cody Rhodes opened the show. Right off the bat, they cut to some incels singing along to his music. Cody says Brock is the most decorated combat sports athlete of all time, which is weird because he had to attack him from behind and he didn't want to face him when Cody was taking on 30 bodyguards or security guards. Then Cody shows still photos of the assault, Brock's assault on him, which I thought was a little awkward considering that they're all about the video packages. And then he says it's the most humiliating beating that he's ever received. And then he starts to slowly take off his shirt. And then he throws all his clothes in the stands. So we're led to believe that Cody Rhodes is driving home shirtless tonight. And then he shows his little, it's about a 2-inch scar on his shoulder bend. And it turns out it's his pec scar. And he tells Lesnar to pick a spot on his body because he has, to put another scar on him. Because the pec scar means that he beat Rollins, one of the best in the business. And then he says he didn't do anything that night, but the fans propped him up and he thanks them. Then Finn Balor came out with his stupid 14 Staples shirt and I skipped the rest.
So we basically get Finn Balor and Cody Rhodes. Uh, for some reason, I don't know why, Finn Balor asked Cody Rhodes to join the Judgment Day. He says, that wouldn't have happened if you had someone watching your back, and you should join the Judgment Day. Cody says, I don't know how to answer this without getting into a fight, but I'm not interested. And it eventually, Finn says, if you're not with us, you're against us. So it leads to them setting up a match later.
Okay. So that's why they wrestled later.
Yes.
What I felt like Cody's promo was just kind of there. I don't know why Finn interjected himself. I think that's kind of what you were going with when you were describing what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just randomness.
yeah, and I don't. We'll get to it later, but I don't understand why Finn He's kind of like the Viking Raiders.
Well, he's a little different. He wins.
Not that often. He wins in tag team matches, but in singles matches, he's not. I don't think he wins that often.
For a while there, he's been on a winning streak.
Okay. Anything else? It was just. It was.
Nope.
All right. Sakoa Joe and the Usos versus LWO. I don't know what happened because I skipped it.
Well, As you would imagine, the Usos with Solo wins this match. That's pretty much all you need to know about it.
Okay, cool. Then we get Sammy and Jay backstage. Sammy says it's weird that the Usos are trying to get their belts back and they're dedicating the match to Roman. So you're trying to get your belts back, but you're still dedicating this match to Roman. Where's your head at? Sammy asked Jay what Sammy asked what Jay thinks is going to happen when they come up short after Roman's name is on the match. So like they're dedicating the match to Roman, but if they lose, it's kind of like when Sammy dedicated the match, or he called a shot when he wrestled Cena and the other guy, Owens.
Yes,
Remember
it did
that?
not turn out well for them.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, I guess. Jay wants to know why Sammy cares. Sammy says he feels bad. Jay says, you made your choice, I made mine, and choices have consequences. Anything? I was waiting for you.
Oh, no.
Okay. Skip the Trish Stratus shit.
So there was a weird thing before the Trish Stratus thing. EO, well, Damage Control, they confront Bianca Belair. EO starts calling out Bianca Belair, and she's like, "I want you tonight." And this leads to Bailey throwing out a 6-woman tag match as opposed to EO getting a title match. It's like, yeah, we all want you. And then she says, if you can find someone who wants to be your friend for one night, we challenge you to a 6-woman tag. And so now you have EO and Dakota looking at each other like, what the hell? But then, of course, they get behind it. So there's that. But they're still teasing the whole Damage Control breakup. So that's good.
Is it?
Yeah, that they're continuing forward with that storyline. Yeah.
Okay.
As we all know, Damage Control shouldn't be a group anymore.
Yeah, especially if they're not going to win.
Well, I think they've run that course. They no more winning. They've lost enough big matches. Um, and then after that, we go into a segment with Trish Stratus. She's backstage talking to Kayla Braxton. It was a better promo. She pretty much reiterated what she said last week, that she's the women's division essentially, and that was pretty much it. But it was a better promo this time. I think it may have even been. I don't want to say it was pre-taped, but it it was a lot better this time.
No, well, whatever. It's Trish Stratus. It's Trish Stratus with her clothes on. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I have the Triple H segment. Do you want to table that to later on?
No, you can talk about it.
All right.
But before then,
Yep.
the Street Profits, they beat the Hurt Business. Don't even know why that match was on the card, but they did, and it lasted like 2 minutes. So really, nothing happened from this.
I don't even know who the Hurt Business is.
Shelton Benjamin and Cedric
Oh,
Alexander.
okay. I wonder why they weren't in the draft. That's weird.
Not yet. Then we go to Triple H.
Okay. Triple H comes out. He says he had the privilege of competing as a wrestler and Now he gets to help the other generation be the best that they can be. Then he brings up Roman, mentions that he's really close to 1,000 days. He says he's the best, and Triple H can't name very many people that can even hang with him. Then he talked about how Roman negotiated himself to where he doesn't have to defend the titles as frequently. And he says it's smart and that's what he would have done if he could. And he says, well, that's great for Roman. That's not good for the WWE. Triple H says wherever Roman gets drafted, that's where he's going to stay with his belts. And then the other brand that Roman's not on is going to get their very own championship at Clash of the Champions. And this champion won't demand your acknowledgement. He'll earn it. And then Triple H reveals a new championship belt.
And it was pretty much a modern take on Big Gold.
It was to me, it looks like a hybrid between the Big Gold belt and the Attitude Era belt with the globe.
Yeah.
I wish they would not the little circle side plates. I wish they wouldn't have done, but I think it's a neat looking belt.
Yeah, it's definitely a fresh take on a belt. Yeah, for me, it reminded me of Big Gold. So
there's definitely
I
that.
liked it.
Yeah, I like that it looks more like a championship belt now, as opposed to the little colored things that they have.
A toy.
The slap bracelets.
Yes, and tune in to the show later on. Well, no, actually, stay here. But later on, we will be discussing who is going to potentially take home that title first, because there's a lot of candidates that are at play here.
So, is Roman? Does he still? Is he carrying around 2 belts still?
Yes, so there are 3 titles currently, 3 world titles.
Isn't that a little silly?
Yeah, I don't know what they do. I think what they could potentially do is get him to 1,000 days as Universal Champion, because that's the initial title he had. So you get him to 1,000 days, and then you retire that title, and then potentially unveil a second new title, being the Universal or the Undisputed, whatever his title is right now. So instead of 2 belts, you have 1 new belt. That's what they could do. Are they going to do that? I don't know.
And doesn't the new whoever wins this new belt, aren't they just going to be looked at inferior to Roman?
Yeah.
So why? Like, I don't understand why you would chase a lesser championship.
It's the what is it? The constellation belt. I can't even say the word.
Consolation prize?
Yeah, that. It's not even in my vocabulary.
Isn't that what the Intercontinental and US titles are?
No, because it's the participation trophy. That's what it is. That's what I was going for. Hey, you guys can't get you can't get the real title, so you can have this title.
Yeah, so like by definition, that just demeans whoever wins it.
Yeah.
So you better hope your favorite wrestler doesn't win it because it looks like a shithead.
Well, you have some people online, geeks, of course. They're saying this is how crazy the internet community is.
Okay.
So they're saying the Roman Universal title thing, that's a Vince title. Like, Vince McMahon's going to have full control over that title. And then this World Heavyweight Championship, that's a Triple H title, and Triple H is going to be control over that. That's what the geeks are saying. So basically, the show is being run by two people going in their own directions.
I find that really hard to believe.
Well, that's what they're saying.
If it was still Triple H and they brought in, I don't know, like a co-creative, whatever the fuck he is, I'd buy that. But it's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, it's his titles.
Yeah.
He's the one that resigned and came back and sold the company and made himself the boss again. The stipulation for his selling, he came back to sell the company, but then he put a stipulation in the selling that he would be the boss of the new company.
Pretty much. And you got that geek Emmanuel. Oh, well, he was going to step down, but I wasn't going to let him. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the only thing I can say about the new championship is it looks good. I just think it's retarded that they have 3 belts.
Yeah. I guess so. Now it doesn't go like with what we were going to talk about later, as who's going to win this title. But my immediate thought when this title was unveiled, I'm like, so people are going to be chasing this title. You know, they got the tournament. There's going to be a new champion. Yada yada yada. So there's not really an end in sight for Roman Reigns.
Well, after WrestleMania, there's not really an end in sight. Because again, they had the perfect person to beat him and take over, and then with each passing Raw and SmackDown, it looks more and more like they made the wrong decision. And Cody Rhodes,
maybe they didn't.
Huh?
I said, or maybe they didn't
Didn't what?
Make the wrong decision.
Are you not paying attention?
Maybe they didn't believe that much in Cody.
He's the best thing between him and Gunther.
I'm saying them, not us.
Okay.
And I'll prove it later on.
All right.
But I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So I didn't see that there was an end in sight for Roman now that there's another title.
I don't know who's going to beat him at this. I mean, now they have. Well, we'll get to the draft stuff, but they mixed up who he's going to wrestle. But I don't see. I don't see anybody beating him. I don't know. And then he hasn't been. We haven't seen him in so long. I forgot what he looks like.
You ain't gonna see him for a while either. You won't be seeing him until SummerSlam, I guess.
What is he, Bray Wyatt?
Oh, he's hurt.
Who's hurt?
Bray.
Good.
Or something. He's definitely not on TV. I don't even think he's eligible in the draft either. So
Bray Wyatt too. Oh yeah. I don't remember seeing his little picture. I remember being disappointed that Dolph Ziggler wasn't on.
Oh, he got his moment.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got with the championship. I just think it's dumb. I don't like, and they're splitting up the brands more, and it's just they've gone like all this time having like their brand split, but everybody's just on the same show. But now they're taking it seriously, and it's just, and they're going back. They don't evolve.
Going back where?
To having a champion on one show and a champion on another show. It's been done.
They were just supposed to have the one champion.
Yeah, especially if he has both belts. He won the Raw and SmackDown World Heavyweight belts. And instead of him rightfully losing at least one of them, they said, "Yeah, we're just going to make a new one for you guys because you can't beat him. We don't have faith that you guys can beat him." Triple H said that. I can't think of anybody that can hang with him, so we're going to make a new title for you losers.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense. Either strip him of one of the titles or have him lose one. I mean, you put him in that position. You put your company in that position. For you to just make a pull another a belt out of your ass, and now you got 3 belts. It makes no fucking sense. Because now technically there's two Raw championships.
Well, no, because they said he's going to be exclusive to SmackDown.
Right, but he has the SmackDown title and the Raw title.
He has 2 belts, yes, but it's one champion. It's like it's a singular title. The undisputed or
No. Now
the
I
Universal
mean,
WWE Champion. Or, I don't even
that's
know the name. It's so confusing.
that's
But
what they're trying to gaslight us on. But Roman has the Raw and SmackDown belts. Then they created this faux belt. It's like, remember when Ric Flair had his World Heavyweight belt and they had to blur it out? It's kind of like what this is. It's not like the legitimate heavyweight belt. Roman has both of them. And until Roman loses either one or both.
well, he's not losing one. He would lose both.
Well, then that's how they need to do it then.
Well, we're past that. We've already got the new title.
I'm just saying it's stupid.
Like, we can only move forward here.
No, they're moving backwards. We're not moving forward.
With the new title?
Yeah, they're going back to, I got a Raw. I don't even know what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever what they're doing. They can't think of a creative way to get the Raw title off of Roman. So they just got to pull this fucking belt out of their ass.
Well, I see it as a exciting new opportunity.
I don't. I see it as a lesser title than what Roman has. And whoever wins it is going to be just lower than Roman and not in his level.
Well, that was going to be the case.
Not if they actually book him to beat him.
So the rumor mill has him making it to WrestleMania 40 as champion. Specifically, them saying he's going to overtake Hulk Hogan's record reign,
Ugh.
so he'll just be under uh, Bruno San Martino. So
Well,
that's what the rumor mill is saying.
his reign already has an asterisk.
Why? Because he doesn't wrestle every week.
Yeah, he doesn't defend the title.
I was someone was talking on a podcast, no old wrestler. They said exactly what I said. This 1,000 day reign is so rare, even more so because back in the time when they had like Bruno San Martino, he wasn't on TV every week, right? Or they didn't have to book weekly television. It was the territory thing, so he would wrestle once in a territory, and then you wouldn't see him again for like 6 months to a year. So it was easier to have a longer title reign back then because there was no burnout because you didn't have to see him every week.
He would wrestle in one territory, but he would be in another territory. Like he wouldn't just not wrestle for 6 months.
I know, but there was no television. So
So
you had to, as a fan, you had to wait until he came back to see him again.
how is that easier though? If he's defending his, if Bruno San Martino is defending his belt in one territory for 6 months, and then he leaves that territory for 6 months, he's going to go to another territory for that 6 months. So he's
Well,
still
I'm saying as a
working.
fan, yeah, he's still working, but as a fan, you didn't see him work. If you saw
Okay.
him working every night for 6 years, I'm sure you wouldn't be excited 6 years in to see him continue wrestling. He probably wrestled the same person in the different territories because, again, there's no weekly TV. So he could just go around the tour wrestling the Iron Sheik or whoever he was wrestling at the time. It's like their house shows.
Well, the house shows were that was their main bread and butter. House shows were important. We look at house shows now as a joke, but like they were super duper important back in the day.
Yeah, because that's all they had. They didn't have TV.
Well, even when they had TV, the house shows were still really important. House shows were where you learn too.
True.
I'm sure to some degree that's what they do now, but it's more like dress rehearsal.
Yeah, they practice with whoever they're going to be wrestling on TV.
Pretty much. And they do the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, but it's not on TV, so you don't know that. Now you kind of do because you got social media.
Yeah, but going back a little bit, I just think since Roman, he hasn't had to defend it as often, so it's easy. I mean, it's easier to keep it.
I don't think it is, but
How's that? If you don't, if you have less chances to lose it, especially when
well,
you're in a
you're s-
group that helps you win it every single time.
well. I'm not even talking about on air. I'm talking about like you're holding this title for 1,000 days.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 days. That's avoiding injury. That's avoiding saying something stupid on social media and getting canceled. That's avoiding being at a nightclub and someone bumping up into you and then you hitting them and now you caught a case, drinking and driving, all the things that can go wrong in 1,000 days. I mean, Jeff Hardy within Roman's within Roman's reign, Jeff Hardy has gone to rehab and come back. Matt Riddle has gone to rehab and come back. Velveteen Dream has lost his whole career.
You don't think they had those issues back in the day? It was probably worse because they
Well, they didn't have cancels.
Okay. Is that the only difference? Roman just has to watch what he says.
Well, I said the other things too.
But they had to, I'm sure they had to deal with those other things and maybe worse. I don't know. I think it's a lot easier today.
Okay. I'm sure it's hard to hold it one day.
Not I don't know. I doubt that. If we're talking about today, yeah. I mean, hell, 20 years ago, David Arquette had the had the world heavyweight belt. He had the big gold belt. That was 20 years ago. It's softer today than it was 20 years ago. And 20 years ago was softer than Hulk Hogan's prime. And Hulk Hogan was softer than Bruno San Martino.
I remember Hulk Hogan was gone for a while, doing movies and all that shit.
Yep.
So this isn't new.
No, I don't begrudge Roman for not work. I mean, if you're gonna get paid $1 million and your employer's stupid enough to do it, and have you work less, then yeah, get your bag. But the motherfucker's been shoved down our throats for what, 3 years now, 4 years, and he's finally over, and then he's gone, and it's I don't know.
Well, he did this last year too. He doesn't need to be at Backlash.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need to be at every single pay-per-view, but it would be nice for him to actually seem like he works at the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
He can just, like, why can't he just sit there? He's been doing that up until WrestleMania, just sitting there scowling. Wise man.
I mean, if they're gonna do that, they could just keep running a rerun of him sitting there. He could be like Biggie in that one music video where he's just always sitting.
Oh man, Biggie would lean back too, like, I gotta get my message out.
Yeah, and people were amazed that he passed away.
Right.
Like, did you hear him?
Well, I
It
think
seemed like he was hanging on there.
I don't think they were amazed that he passed away. I think they were amazed that he didn't pass away via heart attack.
Yeah.
All right, I think we beat the championship to death.
Yeah.
I got Judgment Day backstage that I skipped.
I don't think there was too much to it. I didn't even write it down, so there you go.
All right. I got the Usos and Sakoa Joe backstage.
I missed that as well.
Okay. Jimmy says he's gonna. It basically cuts to Jimmy saying that all he's gonna do is super kick Sammy. They're gonna take their titles back. Boom, boom, boom. Then he calls himself Main Event Jim. And Jimmy sees the Jay's quiet because, earlier Sammy got to him.
Oh yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, and then Jay reveals that he did indeed talk to Sammy. And Jimmy flips his shit. After being calmed down by Joe, Jimmy says Jay can't talk to Sammy anymore and fall for his mind games. Jay asks, well, what if we don't win the belts? Jimmy says that they're going to win, and they're going to do it for the bloodline, and they're going to do it for Roman. Then he just storms off like a girl. After that, I got Sammy and Jimmy backstage.
I thought that was before the Usos were talking about it.
No. There was Jay and Sammy backstage. Then the Usos had their thing, and then Jimmy confronted Sammy.
I missed that too. Golly, where was I?
Okay. So Jimmy tells Sammy to quit fucking with Jay's head. Sammy says, "Hey, I'm just telling the truth." Jimmy says, that they're gonna win, but if they lose, do you think Kevin will have your back? So they're teasing Kevin Owens turning on Sammy. Do you think Kevin forgot all the times that he was getting kicked in the face? I didn't. I was standing there. I was standing right there every single time you did it. Which, if I recall, it was Jimmy doing the kicking, but whatever. And then he says, when you lose the titles, Kevin's going to turn on you, and you'll deserve every bit of it. And don't worry about my brother, worry about yours. So it seems like creative only finds this bloodline angle interesting is when either Sammy or Kevin are turning on each other. And it seems like that they're just forever going to go to Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at whatever point in their fucking career trajectories. The main goal is to get to that match.
Well, they were that was the Usos trying to get in Sammy's head because he was in Jay's head. It's like, you keep saying this is gonna happen to us, this is gonna happen to you.
Yeah, but Kevin kind of freaks out every time Sammy tries to throw an olive branch to the Usos. Like, why are you talking to them? What are you doing?
See, now you see it. Remember I told you there seems to be something off there with Kevin Owens. He doesn't seem to be all the way in.
Well, now it's just so blatant that how can you not see it?
Well, I thought I was going crazy. Well, I didn't think I was going crazy. I just knew I saw it early.
So after that, we get Cody versus Finn Balor. Or at least that's what I have. Is there anything in between that?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a little bit. So after that, we get Damage Control. They take on the Forever Champ with the new tag team champions. So this is Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez as a trio.
Just a smorgasbord of shit right there.
So yeah, you can imagine who wins this because you have the new champions and the Forever Champ on one side versus Damage Control.
You have X versus Damage Control.
Yeah. So obviously, Damage Control loses, as they will always lose. At some point, they did. I guess they did make the match official. It'll be EO versus Bianca Belair at Backlash.
Right on.
And they got the graphic up and everything. So
I thought it was already official.
it wasn't.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Or maybe it was, and they just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, because EO won that.
There now.
EO won that match with Big Bertha and the OC chick. The one with 100 names.
Meechan.
Jackie Chan, yeah.
Well, it's official, so.
All right.
Not that it matters. As I already said, the Forever Champ will remain as such. Females, what? Female Cena canceled.
Wow.
Female Cena is what I meant to say. I don't know what I said.
You
Let's
said
cut,
she-male
uh,
Cena.
cut that out, producer. Don't let that make it on air.
Oh, that's going to be a clip.
So yeah, they beat Damage Control. So there.
All
We
right.
then go to
Cody
Bobby
versus...
Lashley. No,
Oh, my bad. My bad.
we go to Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, Bronson Reed. They have a little in-ring segment. Uh, it starts with Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. They're going back and forth about Bobby calling Theory out, saying he's he doesn't believe in himself. Yada yada yada. Um, Out comes Bronson Reed. They have a three-way battle, and we get to see another tsunami onto Bobby Lashley. Theory has yet to be tsunamied, but he needs to call Geico and get his natural disaster insurance ready.
Okay.
Um, Also to note, because it's not the week before, but to note, um, Bronson Reed was standing tall at the end of the segment, and he held the title up. Usually, when the challenger holds the title up, that means they're not winning the main match. So that's why it needed to be pointed out.
So you're saying that means Bronson's not going to win?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
But it changes things with what happened in the draft that we would have to get into. Um, we then go to another segment. Uh, Nothing to really talk about. It's just Boogs and Elias giving a recap of what can happen in the draft. That they can be drafted to different teams, or I'm sorry, different shows and split up as a team. Boogs is freaking out because he just got to Raw, and that's pretty much that segment. Then we get to Cody and Finn Balor.
all right. Cody comes out, gives his belt to a kid with Down syndrome. Um, I found the tape on his ribs. He had like AC tape, or that is that what it's called? AC tape.
The Kinesio tape or whatever.
Yeah, he's got that just plastered on his ribs. So I found it really distracting, especially as they started to peel throughout the match.
Yeah.
Balor's a really good cowardly heel, as always. I don't know. I to me, it just seems like he always loses, but maybe he's just on a losing streak, and I don't remember his last win.
Yeah, there's been a couple weeks, but
Well, he lost WrestleMania. He lost at Extreme Rules. I think he lost before that too.
yeah, but before that, he was on a winning streak.
Okay. Now he's on a losing streak.
Yeah.
Cody did probably the best Cody cutter that I've seen. I don't know if it was Cody or Finn, but it looked pretty. I still don't like the move, but that's probably the best example of it you could do. And in the match, Cody did a super kick and a pedigree. And
He sure did.
Of course he won. He did the worst super kick I've ever seen, by the way.
I didn't catch the super kick, but I did see the pedigree.
Yeah, it was an awful super kick.
It's funny that he used to. So in AEW, he used to hook the arms like he was going to do the pedigree, and then he'd do the Tiger Driver 98. But I guess in WWE, he can't do that anymore. So it's to the pedigree. It is.
Have you noticed that nobody really does the pedigree quite like Triple H?
Yeah,
Everybody just,
I
I
mean,
don't
it
know.
was his move.
I understand that, but everybody looks kind of stiff and awkward when they do it.
It's just like no one does the tombstone as good as the Undertaker does.
Kane did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
He always, I don't know. His looked awkward.
His was
Like he,
just like the Undertaker's.
no, the Undertaker's was like a stiff pile drive. Kane's was like a fall, a fluid motion of a fall. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's
Just
definitely
Inc-
different.
Just Incredibles was good too.
It's okay.
It was good.
It was better than Kane's. I'll give you that.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with your example. Now, if it like no, because the super kick, like Lance Storm did a really good super kick.
Yeah.
His looked like he was throwing a spear with his leg.
Yeah, his
Michaels
was
was
good.
just over dramatic and theatrical.
It was sports entertainment.
Yeah, it's a good move. I like it. It's one of my faves. So after that we get Rollins. Maybe that's what I got.
Um, nope.
No.
We get. I mean, it might as well be Rollins. So we get Mustafa Ali
Mm.
versus Chad Gable. Um, I guess this was because they were in Chicago, and that's where Mustafa is from. But he wins in like a minute from a roll up. So
All right.
nothing to really talk about as a match. Then we go on to Seth Rollins.
And he came out in Becky's outfit. And
As per usual.
as per usual, and I skipped it. Like, he had the high heels and he had the little backless dress on, and fuck him. Might as well get it out of the way. I skipped the Riddle and the Priest versus Mysterio.
So you skipped the rest of the show from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rollins, he comes out, they start singing his song, of course. And he goes over, he stands by the new WWE Heavyweight Championship, and he says, finally a championship that doesn't involve politics and pretty much just that and the other. And he says he's going to be the new champion. First, he has to go through Omos, and he says, really, the only good line from what he says is, and I know it's always done. So, is it really a good line? Omos, he comes out, by the way, so they do their face to face thing, so you can see how big Omos is. You know.
Wait. What was the line that was good?
Oh, he says, Omos, when you when you wake up from your 3-second nap, all you're gonna hear is, and then he starts leading the chorus.
Oh.
I know. Just something about it this time. This time.
This time, yeah.
And yeah, Omos comes out so they can see how big we can see how big Omos is, because he's a giant, and how much bigger he is than Seth. And they don't do anything. Seth just leaves the ring after leading some more chorus of his song. Uh, After that, oh, you said Riddle. I don't even have Riddle in my notes. So,
it was a backstage segment with Sammy, Riddle, and Owens, but all I saw was Riddle, and that's all I needed.
well, I didn't even see it. So, we'll just skip to what? We'll just skip to the main event here. Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Uh, Damian Priest wins off of a distraction. And post match, Bad Bunny, he comes out yielding a kendo stick. And Damian Priest is standing in the ring, and Bad Bunny walks up to him and he starts hitting him with the kendo stick. He takes him over to the table. He hits him with the kendo stick on the table. Finally, we have Damian Priest. He retreats. Bad Bunny, he gets the mic and he says, I'm not going to do an accent. I was going to do an accent, but I'm not going to do an accent. So, Bad Bunny, he gets the mic. He says, I was coming to, no, he said, hey, Damian Priest, I'm no longer a host of Backlash. I'm coming to Backlash to kick your ass in a street fight. Now, funny thing is, they still keep saying that he's the host, so I think you may have jumped the gun there a little bit. But essentially, we're going to have a one-on-one match: Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in a street fight, and that's how Raw went off the air. So no tag match, just a good old street fight: Damian Priest and Bad Bunny, where Damian Priest will lose to Bad Bunny, which doesn't make sense.
I think it's a good message to send to your not only your audience but your wrestlers that anybody can just jump in and do what they can do.
Well, that's only after touting, as they so keep touting, he's the most listened to artist in the world. So, you
That
know,
doesn't mean he's the being a listened to artist doesn't make him a wrestler.
it doesn't make him a wrestler, but having, whatever amount of followers he has doesn't help. It doesn't hurt.
That
You
means
win
he can
you win
host.
matches when you have a lot of followers.
You don't that doesn't make you a wrestler. You shouldn't be in the ring. It's going to be awful.
I mean, to his credit,
No, there's no credit. He's a Puerto
no,
Rican
you
rapper.
let me take over here. Let the voice of reason take over here. To his credit, he does put on a decent match. Like, you can tell he
Has
cares
he had
about
a match?
wrestling. He has.
Okay.
He has his one move, which is the Bad Bunny Destroyer, or whatever they call it, Canadian Destroyer. So that's his little go-to shtick that gets the crowd out of their seat, and then everybody has to act like they've never seen it before, even though that's what he does every time he's in the ring.
I don't like it.
Well,
Just
hey,
cuz no.
that's that's where sports entertainment comes in.
First of all, he's not even a big guy. Like think about it, that Hardy guy who's like twice Bad Bunny size.
Come on, you could look at Hardy and tell he can't even do anything.
You could look at Bad Bunny, you can tell
I
he
could
just gets
Bad
stepped
Bunny.
on.
That Bad Bunny's from the
Bad Bunny would get
streets.
stepped on,
You understand? He's
especially
in the
against Damian
streets.
Priest.
I'm not talking about Damian Priest. I'm talking about Bad Bunny versus Hardy. He's from the streets. You understand?
Bad Bunny would
You could get mess
Hardy
around
would
and get cut.
Hardy would just sit on him.
Like you little dorky white boy. What are you trying to get stabbed?
Mm.
You remember DMX? He wasn't this big guy. You mess around with him, yeah, something was gonna happen to you.
Well, that was DMX. You can't mess with DMX. Bad Bunny is no DMX.
He could be.
No, he can't be.
He's
He
not.
won't be
He's not
ever.
a.
Not even in the same league. Not even the same sentence. Not even the same anything.
I haven't seen him get stomped out by someone in a Planet Fitness bathroom, so he has that for him.
DMX didn't do that.
No, that one dude,
Takeshi
Taki, Ta-
Takayama.
taquitos. Yeah, you getting stomped out in a Planet Fitness bathroom.
No.
So when that happens, now you've lost all credit.
No, because he has videos of getting jumped. That's not his first video of him just getting assaulted.
That's kind of his thing.
Yeah, that's kind of he runs his mouth a little bit.
Well, I can tell you that Hardy dude doesn't look like a fighter.
Bad Bunny don't look like a fighter. Well, just because he has accessories on? He wears sunglasses indoors.
No, he's looks like. Well, first of all, when you dress like he does, you got to be able to do something.
Well, look at Hardy. I bet he's from the holler.
Hardy would get. He can even. I don't even think he would get a punch in.
Please. He would just he would just tomahawk chop him. All he would do, Hardy would just put his hand on Bad Bunny's forehead while Bunny tries to swing wildly.
Nope, he get cut.
Please.
Hardy ain't in WWE 2K22 3.
I bet he is as a downloadable player.
I bet you he's not. I bet you no one even made him. Not even the people made him.
I bet you there's somebody that made him. There's one person that made him, at least.
You saying Hardy has one downloadable character? Well, okay. Someone made him. Because there's that one person who was just would be just obsessed with like putting everybody in the game that's been in WWE in some sort.
There you go.
But his overall is probably like 50.
Which is better than Bad Bunny's 49.
No, Bad Bunny's like a 70 something.
He ain't a 70.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
That's right. He's
49.
He's higher rated than LA Knight, unfortunately.
Well, LA Knight deserves it.
Okay. Bad Bunny is rated high. Bad Bunny has a higher rating than Razor Ramon, Sami Zayn, Logan Paul, Johnny Gargano,
All right.
Damian Priest, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin. So, there.
Okay.
And Mick Foley. So there. And that would be also including Cactus Jack.
Man, I didn't know Hardy would be better than all these people. That's crazy. Because Hardy's better than Bad Bunny, so
he has the exact same rating, Bad Bunny, as Hulk Hogan. No, actually, that's false. That's false.
That better fucking be false. All right, we're spending too much time on this flamer.
Oh, there you go. Cancel. Now we've gotten canceled twice.
There we go. Then we fly down to Corpus Christi, Texas for Friday night SmackDown. They get the Raws, the Raw of my generation for the blah. So the Usos. I don't know what that was. The Usos open.
If anything, it was the Raw song.
I was wondering that as I was singing it.
Yeah, it was the old Raw song. Move to the music.
Okay.
Like Rob, was it Rob Zombie or whoever it
Yeah, I
was?
think so. Usos come out. They congratulate Roman. The camera cuts to two virgins holding up the ones. And then they talked about how Roman's not talking to them, but they're gonna win. Jimmy's like, you won't return our emails, you won't return our calls, won't return our IMs, you won't Instagram us, you won't Snapchat us, but don't worry, we're gonna win this. We'll make you proud, Oos.
Yeah.
Since Zayn and Owens interrupt, Zayn mentions how the Usos aren't with Roman. Owens visibly pouts while Zayn brings up how Roman and the Usos are growing further and further apart. Jimmy says, well, Owens is going to turn on you, Sammy. So all this little business aren't going to mean anything. Owens says he's tired of hearing that shit. He says he doesn't give a shit about any of this bullshit. He just wants to win his titles. He's like, I'm tired of hearing this. I don't care what you think about this. I don't care what you say about that. All I care about is keeping these titles.
As he should.
And then they all stare to see who has the pointiest chin. Okay. After that, we get Mouthpiece McFingerbang versus the one LA Knight.
Yeah.
And I wrote, surely LA Knight isn't going to lose this match. So to start off the match, Mouthpiece hits LA Knight with a Irish whip. He then dives to the LA Knight did I think he did a couple punches and a couple kicks, but then immediately Mouthpiece McFingerbang gets the Irish whip, dives to the mat. He does a leapfrog. He does another dive to the mat. Then he does something with his leg. It looks like he just smacked it and LA Knight sold it, but I assume it was supposed to be a knee or a kick or something. And then he does his finger bang. Diverse move set. So then Mouthpiece does Sheamus's little chest punch bells of the whatever fucking thing. So then I started to fast forward. When I stopped,
the Baldrin.
yes, thank you. When I stopped, Mouthpiece was stomping on LA Knight's hands, and then he hit him with an enziguri. So I fast forward it. Then Mouthpiece McFingerbang, he's finger banging Knight on the top rope. Like, I shit you not. Like, every fucking time I stop, he's doing some fucking finger bang move. Knight hits a superplex. Knight gets Mouthpiece in a reverse Death Valley driver position. Mouthpiece counters and hits Knight with an enziguri. That's 2 enziguris, by the way. Knight kicks Mouthpiece in the face and goes for his finisher. I forget what it's called. Who cares?
Blunt force trauma.
Thank you. Mouthpiece finger bangs Knight again until he gets to the ropes. Knight throws Mouthpiece into the post. Then he hits the finisher for his rare win. The crowd loves
That would be the blunt force trauma.
Yeah. So I want you to get this ready for TikTok, because those motherfuckers that told me that this piece of shit has a diverse moveset don't know what the fuck they're talking about. This motherfucker did nothing but finger bang moves. Mouthpiece McFingerbang is fucking worthless in every sense of the word. And fuck you if you say differently. Cunts.
There you go. Very direct. No room for interpretation there, or misinterpretation there.
After that,
It's okay. They tried to baptize me when I said Roman Reigns was winning the title.
Yeah.
Bunch of. And then, they didn't come back to give me my flowers either.
I saw somebody
did.
say, I hate you that you were right about this.
Yeah, some people came back as, and I respect those people for coming back and saying, I guess you were right. This aged well. I respect those people. But you people who said it was wrong and then you left and never came back, I should go hunt you down so you
It
can tell
was
me
wrong. Just because what you said was going to happen happened doesn't mean it was right. The wrong choice was made that evening.
But I was right about it.
And it's more and more apparent.
Well, we're gonna talk about it coming up.
Okay.
We are going to get into it.
So then we get Bloodline backstage. Jimmy and Jay are hyping themselves up. Heyman says success is their only avenue. You're either going to get drafted to the island of relevancy as champions or drafted to the ocean of obscurity as ex-champions. Sakoa Joe just stands there looking lobotomized. Heyman says it's the Usos' chance to erase the stain of Sami Zayn and the Bloodline and revenge their loss and yada, yada, yada. He reveals that the Usos haven't been allowed in the Romans' locker room. So I will say, like, the only thing that's enjoyable about this at all is the fact that they've, like, slowly, casually just been leaking how Roman has not talked to them and how they're not even in the same locker room and they're trying to play it off like it's no big deal. Like, oh, you ain't talking to us. And Heyman just casually like, you'll get back in the locker room.
Yeah.
But the Usos still look stupid because they just look like geeks now. Heyman then says Roman wants them to know that he will only accept the fact that tonight is the night. And as he says that, he pulls out tape and turns to Sakoa Joe as he's saying, tonight is the night. And he looks directly in Sakoa Joe's dead, lobotomized eyes. And then it fades to black as Joe is wrapping his thumb.
So I like the idea here that, well, first of all, I like that, Paul Heyman is doing this promo, and he's been doing this for weeks, but he's doing this promo, and then he's looking at Solo because he's talking about the Usos, but they don't know he's talking about them. They still think he's talking about Zayn and Owens. It's like, if you either you handle the Sammy problem or the problem's going to get handled or something like that, right?
Right.
But in all of this, what's being hidden here, or what we see here, is that the idea is that Solo, if given the word, he's going to take out both Usos by himself. One Solo is going to handle both Usos at the same time, if given once he gets the word.
That's certainly what it seems like.
Yeah. Here we got the best tag team in the world, but Solo's going to handle both of them.
Yeah.
at the same time.
Solo, who needed those very Usos to beat Rey Mysterio Jr.
Well, we went round and round on that. We ain't going back there.
Well, that's because I was right. But yeah, that's, I mean,
Even Michael Cole started talking about it. But anyway,
talking about how I was right. Yeah. Okay.
hell, Rey Mysterio's the biggest little man in WWE history.
He also says shit's vintage when it's not vintage.
And then he says he went down the accolades for Rey Mysterio.
He also says that he's an actor.
Rey Mysterio?
No, Cole. He says that he's an actor playing a part.
Well, he is.
But he doesn't. He doesn't have to say that.
Well,
Just before he shoots some guy in the head, Keanu turns to the camera. Don't worry, guys. My name's really Keanu Reeves. I'm not John Wick. See, Daisy's still alive. We're just playing pretend.
they don't do that, but they got some movies play the outtakes right at the end, and then you see like they're supposed to be in this serious moment and they're laughing because they're on set, they're cracking jokes and shit.
Yeah, that's wrong. Anyway,
I don't even know what we were talking about.
I don't either.
Oh, because you brought up Rey Mysterio for some reason. Because Solo, he's gonna take out both Usos.
Yeah, and he needed the Usos to beat little tiny Rey Mysterio, who's 50. And he gets who's been getting his ass whooped by a female and his little son all year. But anyway, after that, the Street Profits did something that I skipped.
They did a triple threat match with Ricochet and Strowman and the LWO. This was Cruz Del Toro and the other guy.
There we go.
Not Santos Escobar. Completely blanking on his name. Joaquin Wild. There we go. See, I got you.
Okay.
Now, I do want to say, they got this LWO thing happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got this whole group. They're kind of starting to take a lot of L's here. I mean, if this group is supposed to be serious, we need to start getting them in the W column. That's all I want to say about it. I know. You probably I'm just saying, for the people who do care, they need to start getting some W's if this group is to be taken serious.
Well, the one or two people that care, I'm sure, appreciate that. I skipped Zelina Vega everything. I skipped her match. I skipped the thing that she did with Ripley. I skipped everybody sucking her dick after the match. Fuck her. She just looks like a Latina Liv Morgan to me.
Well, I will say she is 4 of 11 of heaven. And, well, I wouldn't say that. Respectfully, I don't want to, get my head kicked off by Malachi Black. So, she had a match. I don't even remember. Oh, it was against Sonya Deville. She had a match against Sonya Deville. She wins off of a roll up. They're playing up that she has a chance, even though she's so much smaller than Rhea Ripley. And post match, we have Rhea Ripley. She attacks Zelina Vega. She attacks Sonya Deville. She looks over towards Chelsea Green to attack her, but Chelsea Green runs off. And then Rhea Ripley's going for a Riptide, countered into a DDT. And Michael Cole says, "That's all it takes." And then we have a new champion. And
Now
then
keep in mind
literally,
this is Rhea Ripley who beat the shit out of Akira Tozawa, and she's had 2 stare downs with Sakoa Joe.
yep,
And she got laid out by, what'd you say, 411 to heaven or whatever the fuck you just said?
411 of heaven. That's what I
That.
said. Yes.
Yeah. So if you don't see what's wrong with that, then I don't know what to tell you.
Well, she literally runs off afterwards, and that's how the in-ring segment of it ends. Backstage, she's talking with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, and they're hyping her up, saying that it's going to be an honor for her to be in Puerto Rico in front of her family. And Rey Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, talks about how he was the biggest little man in WWE history and how he beat giants. And it doesn't matter how big you are; it's a matter about what's how smart you are and how much heart you have. And as long as you believe, you have a chance. And that was pretty much the end of that segment. Next up,
We have the OC. They're back.
yes, Return of the OC.
What's your favorite OC match?
And I don't have one.
Okay. So the only thing really of note is that the Viking Raiders came out to pick another fight to lose.
Yes, they did.
And sure enough, the OC, they all beat. Well,
Now I had a major problem with this one,
well,
this segment.
Styles sits on the top ropes because he realizes that there's an odd man out, so he recuses himself and he says, handle your business. So then they all fight, and I guess what's her face is part of the OC today, and she does the worst foot to face move thing. I
Eat
don't even,
defeat.
huh?
Eat defeat.
Yeah, that was the worst, whatever that was, I've ever seen in my life. She hit it on the deer. And this deer is supposed to be a god, and for her to sell such a sloppy fucking move.
Not forget the move. She communicates with the gods, and we're over here. Michin is getting the best of her.
Yeah,
She
that
should have
too.
been no selling all that.
Yep. You're right.
I was so irate. Well, not to an extent.
Well, it's funny too because when we first saw them come back, that they took out it wasn't Street Profits, Hit Row, and the deer tossed up Zelina Vega and headbutted her in midair. What happened to that?
Well, that was Zelina Vega.
Zelina Vega, who just took out Ripley, who in turn has been beating the shit out of dudes.
Yeah, but now you
And
got Michin, and she's one of the dudes, and she's the OC and riding around and getting in bar fights for fun
she's in
or
the OC
whatever it is
today.
that they're supposed to be doing.
She hasn't been in the OC for weeks now, but today she is.
She's back in the OC because the OC wasn't a thing until AJ Styles came back.
Okay.
I want to like the OC.
I don't. They're done.
I just don't get excited about AJ Styles matches anymore.
He's kind of
Being
like Chris
honest.
Jericho to me. He's just there. He does solid shit, but
I
like,
think it's his stupid music. I don't like his music.
really? I like his music. Well,
Like
Wow.
They don't want none. Oh, they don't want none.
Yeah.
What are we listening to right now? It's country and it's rap. Like pick one or the other.
I don't think it sounds like country.
Well, it's rap, but
To me, it sounds like I don't know. Sounds like a DMX song. Ain't no sunshine. No, not no sunshine.
at one part of the song he says like a talking about I'm a good old country boy or something like that.
Okay.
That's where I got country.
You're telling me rappers don't say I'm a good old country boy?
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Maybe Bubba Sparks would say it, but
No. Like Nappy Roots.
maybe.
I would think anybody from like the Paul Wall side of things, the little underground Southern rappers.
No, they wouldn't be. They ain't country.
Yeah, they are. I'm from the South. The country boys, we're gonna shoot you in the mouth. What, Mike Jones?
I just heard Paul Wall song the other day. That's funny.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think he makes music anymore.
Oh.
I think he's retired from that game. You know, Chameleonaire, he also retired. Apparently he owns like a Fortune 500 company or something like that now.
Oh, good for him.
So, yeah. He took his Swisher House money and made bank. He's like he's an investor, one of those like Shark Tank guys.
All right.
But not on the show, but you know.
Right. Well, I'm sure that there's quite a few people that do what the Shark Tank people do.
Not as good as they do though.
I like Mr. Wonderful. I wish Cuban would go away.
Yeah, you got Kevin O'Leary. You're dead to me.
Yeah. You're an idiot. I'll give you $5 and 100% ownership.
Yeah. Give me 5% royalty on forever. I'm not doing that. Well, you're dead to me.
All right. So next we get a backstage interview with Shinsuke Nakamura. The lady asks Shinsuke what it's like to be drafted. Then Cross attacks Shinsuke. And the only thing of note is they did a nice pan of Scarlett from her toes to her bosom. It was great.
And there's a match next week.
Whatever.
I'm sure Charlotte. I'm sure Charlotte will. What Charlotte?
Scarlett.
Scarlett. Golly, not Charlotte. Although Charlotte, we've been over that. Scarlett. I'm sure she will be on her A game next week.
Cool.
As in the bosoms will be out.
We'll see. She'll have
Sleeves will be shown next week.
She'll have to work kind of hard to get to that level again. That was a good outfit. So then we get our main event. It wasn't any different than their WrestleMania match to me. And Owens and Zayn win. And Heyman said all that shit about tonight being the night, and all we got out of that was Koa Joe staring with his lobotomized stare. And that's how SmackDown ended.
Well, I mean, he did come out.
He came out and he was just staring. He didn't take her or anything.
Because Riddle.
What about Riddle?
His stupid ass. He actually saved the Usos, which is weird.
What do you mean?
So Solo, he starts walking out to the ring, and then all of a sudden, uh, Riddle jumps him, and then they fight backstage, or they fight to the backstage, and then Solo's standing out in the crowd when the match is at the end.
Oh,
So he was walking out there to do what he was going to do,
okay. I guess
and
that makes
then
sense. I'll be
Riddle,
honest. I kind of skipped this match because I
yeah,
figured
Riddle
it wouldn't be any different
intercepted.
than their WrestleMania match. Bunch of
Yeah.
super kicks and near falls and yeah. So I
Well,
guess we'll see what
that
happens on Monday.
yes, and that is the week's recap of Raw and SmackDown, an abridged version, somewhat. Let
Yep.
us know what you think of the new format in the comments below, right next to the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. And on the back of that, do you have a match of the week?
Um, it'd have to be Cody and Balor.
Cody and Balor's your match of the week.
Yes.
That was my match of the week up until the tag team match
Okay.
yesterday. Um, yes, it was the same as the WrestleMania match, but I thought the WrestleMania match was good, so
Well,
I
there you
will
go.
give them. I gave them the match of the week based off of that, and then sports entertainment segment of the week for you.
It would be how the LA Knight match started. Apparently, he was backstage talking shit again, and he ran into the uh, whatever the fuck Sheamus's group is called, and that's how the match started with Butch. He basically berated him, and it's like, motherfucker, you you just don't learn your lesson.
Well, that's funny that you went there because I also went LA Knight. Um, but mine was different. It was the actual pop because when he came out, he got a pop, and pretty much through the whole match, he was getting cheered. When he's
Yeah,
supposed to be a heel, by the way.
they were cheering his name.
Yeah, he's over,
Oh, he's over like
and
Rover.
and I don't know if you notice, he's done it before, but he's seems to be now doing it in every match. He has his own version of the People's Elbow, the LA Knight elbow. And he goes LA Knight and then does the elbow drop. So
I've seen it. I like I said, I fast forwarded through bits of it because Mouthpiece was finger banging throughout the whole match with his diverse move set.
of course,
Fucking fucker.
so yes, that is also my sports entertainment segment of the week.
Very good.
Now instead of
It's
the
kind of interesting how we we fight about this shit, but like our favorite segments have been pretty consistent.
yeah,
Either that or that's just happens to be the only good thing in these shows.
well, I try I try to take this segment serious. So I do give people a chance. Like I said, up until Friday, it was Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor was the match of the night or match of the week, I should say.
That's fair.
All right, moving on to our next segment of the show.
Bum 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 bum.
This week we have coming up a round table. We got two topics of the round table.
You spin me right round, baby, right round. Go ahead, keep going. Like a record, baby,
I'm
right
supposed to keep
round.
talking while you do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the background.
Well, I don't know about that.
All right.
So roundtable discussions.
Baby, like a record.
Look at you still doing it. We have the WWE Draft is our first roundtable discussion. We talk about everything draft so far up until this point. The
Up
good, the
until
bad,
this point.
the ugly,
Yeah.
the whatever.
Well, go ahead and take it away.
All right, so we start our first draft pick, Roman Reigns, of course, as he would have always been. He gets drafted as a bundle with Heyman, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sokoa. So that is your first pick for SmackDown.
And not the Usos
Yes, the Usos were not included in that draft.
at all. They made it a point to say the bloodline consisting of Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Sokoa Joe,
Yeah,
not the Usos.
yeah,
And they're like, well, you can't have, there's got to be limitations. Even though
yeah.
later
There's
the OC gets drafted all at once.
though everybody gets drafted all at once.
Yeah.
Like for the rest of the night, everybody got drafted as a package.
Yeah. Can you imagine just the NFL draft? Like, oh, we draft all the receivers from Baylor.
That would be funny.
Yeah. Pick 2 was Cody Rhodes. He went to Raw.
And thus, then goes the shock of the vibrations of the IWC. Because Cody Rhodes got drafted to a different brand than Roman Reigns.
Mhm.
Everybody assumed that Cody was going to go to SmackDown so he can still pursue Roman Reigns and finish the story.
And now it doesn't look like that is the case.
It does not. But I never thought that made sense anyway, that he would go to SmackDown, because if he went to SmackDown, then who was going to be on Raw that could carry the show?
Well, they got a bunch of people.
That could carry the show.
They got a couple people.
I don't think they do.
Okay.
Like you're one in. If you wanna make a comparison, you got Stone Cold and you got The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
When SmackDown was initially formed, you weren't going to put them both on the same show. You had The Rock go over to SmackDown, and you had Stone Cold on Raw.
Well, it depended, because when The Rock was a heel and Stone Cold was a face, you damn right want them on the same show. When they were both faces, yeah, you kind of want them as far away from each other as possible.
Well, I just think it's a spreading of wealth, because you have Cody Rhodes. He can go to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
You build feuds around him, make him the top guy on that show. It gives us as fans a reason to watch Raw. And then you have Roman over on SmackDown. Same thing.
How is that though? Like you're the one with, oh, the story is the most important thing. Blah 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 blah. The story has been Cody Rhodes getting the belt that saluted his daddy. And then it should be him
Well, he wasn't making that
getting.
much of a deal of it when it was WrestleMania time.
What do you mean?
He never made it. Oh, I want the WWE Championship. I don't that blueberry. You can keep it. He didn't make that big a deal of it. He just made a deal of winning the title.
Yeah, he talked about how he was the first Rhodes to main event WrestleMania. The announcer's like, oh, Dusty was robbed of that title, and he's never been to a main event at a WrestleMania, and Cody's the first one to do it. And then he loses. He doesn't even get his rematch. He's in some throwaway feud with Brock Lesnar. And now he's drafted to Raw, a completely different show. Like even though up to this point they've all just flip-flop shows without any care as to what they've been drafted to. If we're supposed to believe Triple H, Roman is only going to defend his title for SmackDown.
Yep.
And the only title that Cody has a legitimate shot at is either the Intercontinental title or this new belt. And now any feud that he had with Roman is dead in the water.
Well, if the rumors are true and they're going to do this match at WrestleMania, then it makes sense that they would be on separate shows just to keep them separated. Because if you have them on the same show, then it doesn't make sense that Cody's not going for Roman. Right? If you got him on separate shows, now it makes a little bit more sense that he's not going for Roman because he's not on the show. So you build them separately, and then I don't know, Royal Rumble somewhere, somehow. Then now you get Cody on SmackDown, and then he can go for the Roman title.
I don't know how much more you can build Cody.
Not, I said build, but that's not what I meant. I meant you keep them separate, right? Because if they're not separate, it doesn't make sense that Cody doesn't, try to get his rematch right after he's done with Brock.
Right.
But now that they are separated, it will make sense because he can't get his rematch because he's not on the same show.
But
So
then
that's how
but
you that's how
he'll
you keep it in long. That's how you stretch it out until WrestleMania, when apparently that's when they want to do it.
so how is he just going to flip from Raw to SmackDown?
Well, that's just something they're gonna have to figure out. Uh, some people thinks maybe he wins the Royal Rumble again. Some people thinks maybe he wins Money in the Bank.
Isn't that brand specific too?
What, Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Mm, I don't know. I don't think it is.
Okay. Unless they do a SmackDown Money in the Bank and a Raw Money in the Bank, because they
Go
love
back
doing
to
that.
that.
Yep. Oh, and then we'll get a SmackDown Women's Money in the Bank and a SmackDown Women's Raw. Or wait,
Jeez, 4 Money in the
yeah,
Banks.
yeah.
Golly, that's a
That'll
lot
be
of
great.
money in the bank.
That'll just be the pay-per-view. Hell in the Cell.
I mean, you gotta feel bad if you don't get it. If there's that many opportunities, like there's 4 people of a five people who are gonna get this thing.
um, anything else on Cody?
Uh, no, we'll talk about him more later.
Okay. There's a funny part where they showed whoever's drafted, they showed their little cards, and then they played their theme music. So naturally they played Cody's, and they stopped just before the woe. And
Oh
Triple
yeah,
H, Triple H even said, because the crowd was singing along to it, and then they wanted to do the woe, and they kind of jumped the gun. And Triple H goes, "Oh, you were so close to it, just so close, but we cut it off just at the right spot." And he goes, "Oh, go ahead and do it."
yeah.
So of course the crowd goes, "Whoa!" I thought that was nice. So then pick number 3 was Belair to SmackDown. And
Yep.
if I was a women's wrestling fan and or a Bel Air fan, which I'm neither of those things, I would probably be irate right now.
Well, I am both of those things.
Okay.
Well, I forgot what you said, but I think I'm both of them.
Well, I said I'm neither a tranny or a homosexual.
No, you didn't. You said something about women's fan or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I don't like shit. I don't like shit. And Bel Air and women's wrestling is
oh yeah,
both
that
of those
is what you
things.
said. So yes, I'm a Bel Air fan, and I am a women's wrestling fan with the volume off, of course. And it doesn't make sense. It seems, especially so, she gets drafted, and then afterwards she does the little interview thing because she wasn't there, and she's talking about how she's so honored that day one she's going to be walking in as SmackDown Women's Champion, which is so. I guess what they're saying is they're going to do the whole swap title thing. So that means Rhea Ripley's going to stay on Raw,
Well,
and
she
they're
hasn't been
going
drafted yet, though.
who Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
right? She hasn't because
So
she's not eligible.
theoretically, she's not.
No, they did something where only half the roster was eligible, and then half will be eligible on Raw.
Okay. So, I mean, anyway, theoretically, she could be drafted to SmackDown as well. She won't
She
be.
could be, but I don't think she will be.
She
Right?
won't.
I think she stays on Raw, and then they're going to do the whole switch titles like it's a piece of bubble gum.
Yep. Which is
And
dumb.
yes,
But
and the record book is then going to show Rhea Ripley has now won both titles, and Bianca Belair is two-time SmackDown Women's Champion and one-time Raw Women's Champion, but has never lost them.
right.
Um, Now they also said that Bianca Belair, which is another thing that needs to be pointed out here, Bianca Belair is close to beating the longest reigning women's championship run. So they're getting that close, and now she's going to switch titles. So that's going to end that little streak that she had. So that's also odd. Or maybe she gets it by the time they switch. I don't know. But there we go. She's going to Raw. Becky Lynch is going to um
Belair's going to
Raw.
SmackDown. Becky
Yes.
Lynch is going to Raw.
Yes. I messed that up.
It's all good. Yeah.
Next up, going to SmackDown, the Street Profits, both of them. So they did not get split up.
Well, the RVD and Michael Hayes are doing the introductions this time, and I'm bringing this up just because after that they cut to the NXT roster pretending to be interested in watching. I thought like they all looked like they were in a cult, just all with the same smile and clapping. It was just weird.
Well, they were interested.
They were pretending.
No, they weren't.
They were pretending.
It was reported that they didn't know who was getting drafted, just that some of the talent were getting drafted.
Yeah, so they knew they were getting drafted.
They didn't know they were getting drafted. They just knew someone in the room was getting drafted.
But they knew.
So when they got their name called, it was a complete surprise to them.
But not. It shouldn't be. If you think you're that damn good and you deserve to be on the main roster, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. You should know that it was going to be your name. Like there was no other choice but your name.
Okay.
You want to be a champion?
Tell that to the people in the NFL draft.
Well, they don't need my help. Dude, look at Baker Mayfield. He's got all the confidence in the world.
I know, but they still act surprised when they get picked.
Not the high
Or
ones.
you got the dudes up there crying because they got picked. And it's like, well, you're going to be out of the league in 3 years. You know why? Because you're crying right now. You should be motivated. You should be saying, okay, now the actual work starts.
Well,
You
when
should
that
be,
happens, it's always like the receiver from, I don't know, Alcorn State that was supposed to be drafted at like number 15, but somebody traded up to draft him at number 4.
yeah. And I
It,
guess it's good for them because they're about to get paid more than they've probably ever seen in their life.
right.
And
Well,
Pookie and I don't know why I went Pookie, but the mom and the
it's
and the
okay.
dad.
I immediately went Alcorn State. I didn't say Memphis or Kappa or Yukon.
Yeah. So yeah, you got
Army.
you got them, and their parents are about to the years and years of getting them to practice and getting up early and picking them up and giving them lunch money and all that. They're about to get paid off for that. So, um, anyway, I don't know why we're talking about the NFL draft, but what I
We're
did want
talking
to
about
say,
the NXT roster. They were pretending to look interested. And you said um,
oh,
they do
because they
that in the
didn't know.
NFL. I don't know. Fuck it. Let's just move on.
That's oh no, nope, because I had something to say about it,
All right.
and there's another thing. That's just like if you're going on interviews, just a random scenario here. If you're going on interviews to get a new job because you got a job that you hate the hours of, and then you finally get a job, and then you act like happy that you got the job. No, you should be like, okay, now I got to figure out how to get promoted in this place. Like that's you should be immediately thinking about what's next, not oh my god, I can't believe I got this job. We've been making $50,000 a year. You know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I guess.
people celebrate the wrong thing.
Fair enough. So yeah, Street Profits get drafted to SmackDown. The Imperium are drafted to Raw, which the only good thing about that is now we can get closer to Cody versus Gunther. But the bad thing is now Gunther is going to be buried in 3 hours of shit. So it's a little bit of a give and take there. And Edge gets drafted to SmackDown for some reason.
That's because there's no more feuds for him on Raw.
Well, if I'm thinking about this logically, though, like SmackDown's competing with Raw for the best superstars. Why would you get one that said like here? He said he has like a year left before he retires. So why would you invest in somebody that's going to be there for the short term?
I don't know. That's what the Rams did. That's what the Broncos did when they got Peyton Manning.
Okay. But they got more than a year out of him, though.
But they knew it wasn't a long term thing.
But they knew it was going to be longer than a year.
He said he may have a year.
Okay.
Only he can decide that, really. Riddle gets drafted next to Raw. Matt Riddle,
What do you do?
and they get drafted by RVD, so that's funny. uh, Next up, we have Bobby Lashley. He gets drafted to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre, Raw. The OC as a whole to SmackDown. The Miz, for some reason, gets drafted to Raw. For some
And
reason, The Miz gets drafted, is what
and
I'm
Teddy
trying to say
Long
here.
had an Afro Man goatee.
Yeah,
Which
he
is
has a little bit of gray in there.
yeah, it was very
You think he dyes his beard? Because he had less gray than me.
no, I don't think so. I think if he
Well,
dyed his beard,
he's an old guy.
I can't see him just dyeing that one specific spot.
I don't know. It looked kind of good. I was thinking about doing it. It's like, oh, maybe I could do that. Dye everything but the middle. Just have the gray there. It's kind of cool.
You got
And
a
then
lot of
it's
gray.
like,
You got a lot of gray you need to dye.
yeah, of course. I'm a dinosaur.
There you go.
Uh, for our final SmackDown portion of the draft, this was done by Shawn Michaels and the Road Dogg Jesse James.
And Road Dogg looked like a fat version of the Freddy Krueger guy.
Freddy Krueger?
Mm-hmm.
You said the Freddy. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So then we got Damage Control to SmackDown, Shinsuke to Raw. Then we get Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to SmackDown. And then some chick to Raw.
Indy Hartwell, who's the current NXT Women's Champion. Same scenario. Now she just defended the title Tuesday.
Mm.
Defended the title on Tuesday. So if they knew she was getting drafted, why didn't she lose the title then? But on the same note, she just won the title back at WrestleMania weekend.
I couldn't tell you.
So they're kind of hot potatoing that title.
I do know that Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, who, by the way, I really liked Alba Fire when I saw her initial promo on that pay-per-view we reviewed. But they're crying, and of course they're happy and celebrating and whatever. But then they talk about how they have an unholy alliance, and they're clearly out of character, and I don't know. They're clearly phony.
Talking about Isla Dawn that way.
They're dead. They don't mean anything.
She's going to be the star. She is the one that's going to take down Rhea Ripley.
She needs to fix that speech impediment first.
What you talk about that way? She's got this speech impediment for being on my penis. What? That's because she's where the hell she's from.
Well, she also has a speech impediment. She got a lisp.
Well, some people don't like to let women talk, so it doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter if she has a lisp. She's supposed to be saying words.
Really, her?
What? No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but not like.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I don't even know.
All right.
I like her in-ring, her character.
Okay.
But now then I have to defend her as a person. So today, this was we were wasting time really. Today on this thing called the SmackDown Lowdown, which I never heard of until today. They did a supplemental draft. So we got a couple more people taken. Mostly NXT people. But there's some notes here. So we got the Viking Raiders with Valhalla. They go to Raw.
Why? Why would you draft them?
I don't know. It was
Seriously, you're like, why would you draft losers? It's
well, now that they're on Raw, they might, they get a fresh start on a new show.
they can pick new fights to lose.
Yeah,
There's a whole new combination of fights to lose with them.
yeah. Dexter Loomis, he stays on Raw. Candice LeRae, she stays on Raw. Maximum Male Models, they stay on Raw. Zoe Stark, she's from NXT. She moves up to Raw. JD
Oh,
McDonough,
I don't mind her.
yeah, she's good. JD McDonough, he moves up to Raw from NXT.
He's nothing. He's smaller than Finn Balor.
He was trained by Finn Balor too, which
Oh,
is
there you go.
weird because they kind of look like. Apollo Crews, back to Raw. I guess he's going to bring his new gimmick of whatever it is he does. He sees into the future or whatever the hell it is.
Oh God.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Why
I
didn't he
want you
use
to.
why didn't he use those psychic powers on that Braun Breaker match?
He did. They were just wrong.
Okay.
He said he saw his vision, but anyway. But I want you to brace yourself here. The biggest pick of the draft, I'm about to announce right now. Natalia, she goes to Raw. I know. Game
Oh,
changer.
good. I was wondering.
Game changer. I know. She's like gonna. That just shifted the. You were wondering who's winning the draft. Right there in the story, Raw has won the draft
That's
because they
true.
got Natalia.
They got the man. Pretty soon you'll see Tyson Kidd come out wearing Natalia's clothes.
Well, I hope I don't see too much of Natalia on TV at all. That would be the ideal thing. And then Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, they are on Raw. SmackDown, they get Hit Row and Lacey Evans. That's it. So Raw got all those people, and then SmackDown got 2 people.
SmackDown doesn't have a whole lot of people that are worth watching, do they?
Well, it depends on what happens Monday.
True.
There's a little bit more here. So there's this is weird. So these superstars are free agents, which means they can appear on Raw and SmackDown.
So like Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Let's
But
see.
his
Brock
name's not
Lesnar.
here.
Oh.
His name's not here. I got better names for you than Brock Lesnar.
Wyatt.
No.
Strong.
Mustafa Ali.
Seriously?
And Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
And Von Wagner from NXT. And then finally, the Giant Omos is going to be a floater.
That don't make no sense.
I know. Why are you putting Mustafa Ali and Dolph Ziggler as floating? Oh, they're so important they can go on either show.
Right. Oh, we need them to get beat on SmackDown tonight.
Pretty much, yeah. They're the floating jobbers. And then there's Omos. He's just there for the attraction match.
Right.
Oh, send him out there. We got another attraction match.
We need somebody to look tall tonight. Oh, get him on Omos.
Yeah.
He's a floater. That's why I fucking hate the draft. Like, there's no thought put into anything. They just move pieces around. And they just, like, try to shove it up our asses that it's supposed to be a good thing and it's entertaining, and it's not. It's awful. It's always awful.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do on SmackDown. I'm sorry, on Raw, because it's not completely done yet. But it is so far so underwhelming. Uh, you
Ever
thought
since
there was going to be like shakeups, like oh, this person's gonna, it kept oh the whole month talking about the draft. They were teasing, oh, the Street Profits might break up, or Otis and Chad Gable might break up, and so far they've done none of that.
right.
So
If
when is that
anything,
going to be?
they've done the opposite. They've ensured that they stay together.
Yeah.
Because now you can. Why wouldn't you just draft out the whole group if they're in a group? Because you can do that. Why wouldn't you get like 3 people for the price of 1?
Well, they did say going off of the air. I don't know if you caught it, but they on SmackDown they said, "Is Roman Reigns even going to want the Usos drafted to SmackDown?"
Right.
So they're kind of, which means they'll probably be on SmackDown since they've been teasing other things and none of those have come true.
I just know, like, ever since WrestleMania ended, it's just getting harder and harder to watch. It feels like they had a really good like story going on, and they had momentum, and now it's just bleh.
Well, which leads us into our next roundtable discussion. That being the new title, the World Heavyweight Championship. Big Gold reimagined. And there are candidates on who will be the inaugural champion. So we have. So I started a. I'll just say this first. I started a fire when we were talking about when they unveiled that title,
Mm-hmm.
because I said they just made Cody Rhodes a title. Like they literally made Cody Rhodes a title. That's what I said.
You're not off.
But apparently, what started the fire was the wrestling community doesn't see it that way. There are other candidates that could be in place for this championship, like Seth Rollins. He's one of the names that very, 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 very much got brought up and thrown my way. Seth Rollins. Some would say he even deserves it based off of what he's done in the past year. And, you know, being being the guy that had the job to Cody, even though he was one armed in a Hell in a Cell match.
He jobbed to Cody twice,
Well, yeah, 3 times.
3 times.
Yes. Um, Another candidate, and now this is just me, obviously fantasy booking. The inaugural champion being L.A. Knight. Yeah, that's just me fantasy booking, of course.
Well, if we're
He's
fantasy
only won
booking,
one match.
if we're gonna fantasy book, I'd like to see Gunther.
Well, there is another candidate, Gunther.
Gunther can. Well, you already have a monster heel for the other side that has the legitimate belts.
But yeah, you can have Gunther. He could be the champion. Now they're going to have a tournament that's going to
Yeah, but
end.
if Roman's a heel though, a monster heel, because Gunther's a monster heel. So I don't know if that would work, having two heels with the belts. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
I think the difference, and just by like the pieces that they're putting around the title,
Hmm.
it definitely does seem like this is going to be more of a workhorse title, kind of like an IC title, but it's a heavyweight title. Like it's it's more of a title based off of how good you are in the ring. And to that extent, Gunther, he doesn't really cheat anymore. He just wins clean,
Which is good.
but he's a heel. So if you could do him as the champion because he wins clean.
Yeah, he
So
just
it's not
beats you.
like if they're trying to go for this to be more of a workman's championship, then yeah, he's definitely a candidate.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. Um, I think Seth Rollins is. I don't want to say he's past his prime, but like he's had his opportunity multiple times to be a champion and carry the torch, and I don't think he really made any difference because if he did, he'd still be champion in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think he gets kind of he's a better chaser than he is a champion. Like once he wins the title, I think he's stale because he keeps winning. I don't know. It's just weird. Like there's uh, Drew McIntyre. He's also on the roster, and he could be a candidate if you want to look
Yeah, I
that
was going
way.
to say him.
Um, the same thing for him. He just like kept winning towards to a point where it got nauseating.
Some people just don't know how to deal with success with other people. It's jealousy.
Well, I think it was said best in Batman. Alfred said it. He said, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain," and that's pretty much what happens. If you get to a title match and lose, you're still a hero, but the second you win it, now you're a villain.
Right.
Like, oh, we wanted, you know, we were happy for you when you weren't succeeding, but now that you are, I'm kind of over it. I don't like to see you doing better than I am, so now I'm gonna hate on you.
Yeah, in fact, I need you to cut it off, or I'm gonna burn your house down while you're still in it.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we go with that. So I don't know. They have a lot of candidates that can win this title. A lot of different directions. My pick, though, as it stands right now, would be Cody Rhodes. It just doesn't make sense to be anybody other than Cody Rhodes right now.
Right. Especially, I mean, because he's clearly the one of the hottest guys that they have, if not the hottest guy right now. So for him to not be in some sort of title picture is just silly. And since he is now on the opposite side of Roman, I don't see any other trajectory for him other than that new belt.
Yeah, and it could change. They could still change him to SmackDown somehow. They Another thing they did tease was trades, and so there could be a trade situation. I don't know what I don't know what SmackDown would have to trade to get Cody Rhodes. Obviously, they'd have to trade a lot. They're not going to trade or Mansoor.
Then get rid of Belair.
Oh, there you go.
Then get rid of Belair, and then she can
But
hand
you
off the
can't.
title again.
She gets drafted night two and is like, "Oh, I need my title back." Oh, okay, here you go.
Here you go. I didn't even bother taking the nameplate off.
Yeah. But it'll be an interesting tournament. See, I'm thinking this is a good. You probably not gonna like this, but this is a good moment to have. So first of all, if he's gonna do this, he can't be champion going into the finals. Okay, so I think Gunther, you have like Triple H or someone, Adam Pierce says, "Hey, if you want to go into this tournament for the World Heavyweight Championship, you're gonna have to give up the IC title." Gunther relinquishes his IC title. That keeps him from having to be pinned to lose it. And I think he's ready for the main event. So now you put him in the tournament. He makes it to the finals. And now you have Cody Rhodes versus Gunther in the finals for the inaugural championship. Uh, you probably don't like the outcome there because it ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be Gunther.
Well,
I think that's the best way to book the title.
I think the best way to book the title is Gunther chops everybody, and then they just give him the belt, since they just give shit away now.
And Eddie has both titles.
Yeah, he has both titles. And then Austin Theory, he gets drafted to Raw, and Gunther chops him and takes his belt. I don't know, dude. What you say makes sense. Like, that's the only thing I really see possibility storyline wise is it would be Gunther and Cody. I think that would be the marquee match now on Raw. I don't know like who else it could be that's even remotely on that level. Because Bobby Lashley's on
Yeah,
SmackDown now.
yeah.
Isn't
The only
Rollins on
other
SmackDown?
he's not drafted yet, but I think he's going to stay
Okay,
on Raw. That's the only other possible outcome is him versus Cody in the finals.
right,
In that scenario, of course, Gunther wouldn't have been in the final or in the tournament because if he's in the tournament, he doesn't lose until the finals. Just no way.
right.
So maybe he doesn't go into the tournament because he's the Intercontinental title champion. So then the finals is Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. One last time, fourth time, and then still, even then, I don't see it any other way than Cody Rhodes winning that title. I don't see Seth Rollins winning the title, even though that's what the internet would have you believe. But I think all roads leads to Cody, and then he'll have a title bestowed. He can bestow it upon the shelf with all the thing about his dad not being able to hoist the title and the first Rose to win a major title, all the stuff. All of that applies still, except
No, it
for
doesn't.
there's not.
It'll just have an asterisk on it
Well,
because
we're not, I'm
the
trying to
important
not.
the
I'm trying to skip the fact that this is obviously the B title. Like there's just this is
this isn't even the
consolation
B title.
prize.
This is the C title.
Well, I'm taking Roman's title as one. Just that there's two titles, but it's one
He's got
title.
two
It's
belts.
one champion.
He's got two belts. They represent both shows' major championship. Until they merge that into one belt or he gets a new belt or whatever, he still has both shows' belts.
Oh, see, that's confusing because I don't think he does. I think he just has one title. just represented as two different
No, he's
titles.
got 2 belts. Or if he had one title, he would have one belt. He's got 2 titles. That's why he's the undisputed World Heavy or WWE Championship or whatever.
Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship
Yeah, that.
champion. So, yes.
So those are 2 belts. They're the Raw and SmackDown Heavyweight Championship belts.
So, so you see this title as like basically a TV title.
I just see it as I see it as something to do because they book themselves into a shitty situation with Roman. So this is their cheap way to get out of it. And they think we're stupid.
And it's worked for a lot of people.
Well,
It's like, oh, new shiny toy.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks nice. The belt looks fine. I don't have a problem with the design of the belt. I have a problem with its existence, though. Given the circumstances, you built this motherfucker up for 1,000 days, and he 2 years ago he won the second belt off of Brock Lesnar, and combined the championships. And you don't even let him have a sizable reign with that. You pull out a consolation prize out of your ass that after pissing off your entire fan base with having a shitty conclusion with WrestleMania, you're going to give the guy that you fucked over the consolation prize.
Not just going to, have to. I don't think that's being stressed enough here. It has to be Cody Rhodes. There's no other reasonable solution than it be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
So yes, they made Cody a title.
Yeah, and it's just no matter what, he's going to look secondary to Roman because they've been building up Roman for 1,000 days. So now who's going to beat Roman? Like, why are we more interested in what happens with this nothing title that's just been imagined out of nothing? It has no lineage, has no history. Why are we more interested in that than what happens to Roman's belts? The real belts. The true belts.
Because those are locked down.
Yeah, see, that's stupid.
So now we're just got to, if you're WWE, let's focus on these titles because you're not getting that one back.
If you're WWE, you shouldn't put yourself in this position in the first place.
Well, they want Roman to keep the titles. The problem is, you fans want someone else to have the titles because Roman's not there.
It's not because he's not there. I don't think Roman's that great.
Well, that's going to be that's a topic for a different day.
That's fine. I don't think he's that great. First of all, I don't think he's worthy of 1,000 days. I don't think he was worthy of 100 days.
Well, we're already past that. Check.
And I don't care how much they try to shove this motherfucker down his mouth or out down our throats. I ain't swallowing it.
Good for you. You're not going to be one of the many that says, please, sir, can I have some more?
No. I want to be one of the few that calls bullshit for what it is.
Oh, that's
especially when the guy has the same match over and over again.
well, that's his character. What different would we expect? Like Cody's an idiot for not expecting that. Well, I mean, obviously he expected it. I was just saying, you know, in character wise, why would you not expect that to happen?
Why would you not expect the guy that got kicked out of the arena to come back?
Yes.
Why would you? When does that ever happen?
Uh, I think that they just did that the other week too, didn't they?
I don't think so.
I thought I remember someone getting kicked out, like the whole group getting kicked out. Judgment, like a Judgment Day thing. The whole group getting kicked out, and still one of them came back and helped.
I don't know.
But if you disagree with anything, let us know in the comments. If you agree with anything, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment below who you think the inaugural WWE Heavyweight Champion is.
Gunther.
Comment below uh, what you think of the draft so far. And is there anything else?
Just have a good night, everybody.
Good night and Top Guys out.
Ciao.